is Sister Renee Cunningham. I'm a Little Company of Mary sister. And the last Little Company of Mary sister is still at the hospital here in Jasper. I've been here for 43 years. I came October 4th, 1975, and have been here ever since. Love it. Hope I get to stay here till I die. We joke about me coming in the sense that in our community for years, they always had the rumor they sent the troublemakers to Jasper and left them there. So I figured I must have been the #1 troublemaker. But they keep reassuring me that, you remember, in those days, the sisters didn't drive, and the only way to get to Jasper was the Monon Railroad. And when that stopped, travel was a little bit harder, so they did stay. And I'm perfectly happy to still be here. I think the most profound, goes without saying, is size. When I arrived, 72 edition had only been open for a couple of years, and they're still settling in. And over the years, at first we increased, the buildings increased. We've had 2 editions since I've been here, one in '85 and then one in the early '90s that really increased the size. But the one in '72, I understand, is what increased our bed size up to the present level of 131, 135, something like that. And with the increase of that, there was an increase in staff. Most obvious increase is technology has progressed beyond belief, faster than and that has really required a lot more of everything: space, employees, time, talent, everything. Our founders had a saying that was, "Where there is need, there is mission," and I think that was the guiding force. And they learned from experience. They were risk takers. The sisters were willing to try things. They learned from what they tried. If it worked, good. If it didn't work, then it was part of God's will, and they would look some other way. But they were very, very much risk takers. Very faith-filled, very determined. Very led by what they're called to serve others. And I think that had a big influence on how our ministries have always developed. I know by stories that the sisters have told that they wanted to start a hospital here in Jasper. The community wanted to start a hospital, and that at that time the community was predominantly Catholic, so they were looking for orders. And I understand that we were not the first order they approached, that they had asked several different orders if they would be interested, and they all said no, that they couldn't. And there was a Sister of Providence from St. Mary's of the Woods that was stationed here in Jasper at the time, and she was familiar with our hospital in Chicago. So she asked Monsignor Wersing if he had ever heard of the Sisters of Little Company of Mary. He said, no, not at all. And she said, well, they're a nursing order in Chicago. So they came up to see us and met with our leadership and asked them, would we be interested? And true to the mission, where there is need, there is mission. They felt that there was a need, and so they felt that they were being called to this mission. Oh, I think there's a lot of memories. I think, when I first came, we were small. So there was so much camaraderie there that there wasn't a distinction between employees and staff and physicians. We just did everything together. And I can remember things like we used to have physician versus employees baseball games over at Evil Air Park. And you see Dr. Plotner and Dr. Tom and Dr. Francis out there running the ball on the ball field and catching and then we had the young employees like Rose Parsons and some of those out there playing around, and then J.P. Salt would be out there, and while they would be playing ball, they had backed up their trucks and their cars, and they've turned on their Coleman stoves, and are cooking hot dogs and hamburgers and that. So we had like our tailgating after the parties, and then when we couldn't have baseball games, we'd have basketball games in Cabby O'Neill Gym, and we had cheerleaders and everything. I can still remember the cheer: "Go Doctors, go! Go Doctors, go down the floor and out the door, go Doctors, go!" We just really things like that. We just had a lot of fun. When the doctors, I can still remember when Dr. Dawkins turned 40. I mean, not only were there signs all over the hospital, Lordy, Lordy, Phil is 40, but they had decorated his office and everything. And some of the other doctors, when they had theirs, they would have their wheelchair and the walker up at the desk when they came to make rounds, and a cart to put their right there, so they wouldn't have to carry their charts. Just a lot of fun things. And it wasn't because we were so small. The departments weren't so defined, so it's like you mingled with everybody, and everybody just watched out for everybody. It was like one big family for sure. The people. I mean, it's a very good hospital. The people that work here are fabulous. They care about what they do. Mission is not something that the words that are spoken. They live their mission of being for others. They're proud of what they do. They give the best. They give their all. I mean, I just think that this is an honor to be associated with them. It's the people that make it. Their actions speak a lot louder than words. That makes me proud of them, proud of the institution. I just think that I can just remember the camaraderie, and I think that people are becoming much more aware of what it really means to be for others, really aware of what praying for the sick and the dying means, and I think that's really an essential part, I'm just so proud of this place. I mean, it's the jewel in the crown. It was named right by Jim. Jasper was named the jewel in the crown, and we've always said that in our community, that Jasper was really Chicago was the mothership, but Jasper was the jewel in the crown.